Welcome back to the Almost Lovers Club, the podcast where we explore the stories of the ones that got away and the ones who might just find their way back. I'm your host, Ashley. It's a pleasure to have you with us. Each conversation, we dive into those heart-tugging tales of what if, and today's story is a classic tale of first love, distance, and the magic of reconnection. We are so honored to be joined by our guest today, Lori, who has a story that spans decades and continents. Karen, thank you for calling in, and welcome to the club.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm a little nervous, but excited to share.
No need to be nervous at all. We're just here to listen. So, Lori, take us back. Tell us about Jared.
Jared. Wow, it feels like a lifetime ago. We met in high school, sophomore year in our tiny little town, Tyler, Texas. He was a member of the football team. I know, such a cliche.
Hey, cliches exist for a reason. They're often the best stories. What were you like back then?
I was quiet. I was in the art club, always sketching, and I worked at my family's diner after school. He started coming in for milkshakes, and at first I was sure he was there for one of the cheerleaders who worked with me. But he always sat in my section. That's smooth. So he made the first move? He did. After about 2 weeks of daily strawberry milkshakes, he left a note on his napkin. It just said, "I think you're cute. Want to go to the movies on Friday?" And that was it. We were inseparable after that.
Oh, I love that. A handwritten note. It's so simple and so romantic.
Shows my age when boys would write notes, but it really was romantic. He was my first everything. My first love, my first kiss under the Friday night lights after a big game. We talked about the future, about having a family. We picked out names for our kids. We just assumed we'd be together forever.
That's the beautiful thing about first love, isn't it? That certainty. You feel invincible.
Exactly. But then real life started to creep in. I loved to cook. It was my passion, the one thing that was truly mine. And my dream was to go to culinary school. Not just any school, but one in Florence, Italy. Oddly, my passion for food was not from growing up in an Italian family that owned a diner. You'd think that, right? But no, it was from a poster I'd found in a food magazine. You know the posters from the center of the magazines? Yes, I had this big poster of a classic Italian kitchen with every dish you could think of on the table. It was on my bedroom wall for as long as I can remember.
Wow, from a small town
In Texas to Florence? That's a huge leap. It felt like a different planet in my mind, and when I got there, I'd only had traveled as far as New York visiting my big, beautiful Italian family. And Jared, he was amazing. He was my biggest supporter. He helped me fill out the applications. He drove me to my interviews in Austin. He believed in me more than I believed in myself. He sounds like a great guy. He was. And when I got in with a full scholarship, he was the first person I told. We celebrated, but there was this shadow, this unspoken thing between us. Italy wasn't just a different state, it was a different world. And that's where things got complicated. We promised we'd make it work. We wrote letters, actual physical letters, and had scheduled phone calls, which were expensive back then. But the 7-hour time difference, the different lives we were leading, it was so hard. I was learning a new language, surrounded by new people. He was at college back in Texas on a football scholarship.
Long distance is tough under any circumstances, but across an ocean at 18, that's a massive challenge.
The letters got shorter, the phone calls felt strained. My parents' business was struggling, so I couldn't really travel back and forth. We were trying to hold on to the kids we were, but we were both growing up and growing apart. The breakup, it wasn't one big fight. It was a slow, heartbreaking fade.
Those are the worst kind, aren't they? The ones where there's no one to blame.
Exactly. It was a phone call about 6 months after I moved. We both cried, we both said I love you, and we both knew it was over. We promised to stay friends, but you know how that goes. Life gets in the way.
It really does. For years, I just poured everything into my work. Italy was a dream, but it was also incredibly demanding. Learning the language, the culture, the nuances of Italian cooking, it consumed me. I barely had time to think about anything else, let alone a long-lost love from Texas.
Right. So what happened next? You stayed in Italy? I did. I ended up staying for over 12 years. I met someone, got married, had my son, Leo. I opened my own little restaurant. I built a life there. And I heard through the grapevine that Jared had gotten married and had kids too. I was happy for him, truly. But there was always a little part of me that wondered, what if?
The ultimate question. And that brings us to the reconnection. How did that happen after all this time?
Well, my marriage ended amicably a few years ago, and I decided to move back to the States with my son to be closer to my parents. I'm living in Austin now. And then, about 4 months ago, I was scrolling through Facebook, and his face just popped up in the People You May Know section.
Wow, just like that. What did you do?
My heart just stopped. He looked, well, obviously older, but he had the same smile. I stared at the Add Friend button for probably 20 minutes. My hands were shaking. I felt like I was 16 again.
I can only imagine. That's a button with over 20 years of history behind it.
It really was, but I took a deep breath and I clicked it, and he accepted it in less than 5 minutes.
Emma?
And then he sent me a message. It just said, Corinne, wow, it's been a long time. How have you been?
So simple, but it says so much.
It did. We've been messaging back and forth ever since. We've caught up on everything. It turns out he's separated and he lives just 2 hours from me. He has 3 beautiful daughters. We've exchanged pictures of our kids.
This is incredible. Have you talked on the phone or seen each other?
We haven't, not yet. We're taking it slow. It's strange. The conversation is so easy, so familiar, like no time has passed. But at the same time, we're completely different people. We're not those kids anymore. We have mortgages and teenagers and lives we've built without each other.
That's the core of it, isn't it? Can you reconnect with the person, not just the memory?
That's the question I keep asking myself. There's a part of me that is terrified. What if we meet and there's nothing there? What if we ruin the perfect memory of what we had? But there's another part of me that feels this pull, this feeling that maybe the story isn't finished.
So what's the next step?
He asked if I wanted to meet for coffee next weekend, and I said yes. I was very hesitant to say yes, though. You know how we always say life happens.
Yes.
Yep, life happened for Jarrett, too. When we connected as friends on Facebook, I'd scrolled through this man's whole profile. It was as if I needed to fill in the gaps of his life I'd missed when I lived my life. He is technically married to a lovely-looking and frankly wholesome woman that's also a dog lover like me. He's a father and husband who, until the last few years, was not shy of publicly displaying his affections for his family.
Well.
Yeah, a lot of what I saw he has built and become is not a surprise. Jared always was focused and driven. As far as I could see, the only goal he didn't achieve from our late-night conversations as kids is playing in the NFL, while I got to realize mine of becoming a chef. So it sounds like you have a lot of admiration for this man. Admiration and, unfortunately, more. He is my almost forever love. This man is married, has a lovely family, and by all measurements has and continues to do everything right.
Yes, he really sounds like a great guy. I totally get why you have not forgotten about him. Your feelings are valid.
I'm at battle with my emotions, though. Jared is separated, yes, but he's still technically married, and I'm not a homewrecker. I can never put my heart and needs before those of others. I said yes to meeting up for coffee, but instantly regretted it. I'm good at hiding my emotions, but not to Jared. He could always see through me like I was glass. I get nervously excited when around him, and I'm sure that hasn't changed after all these years. There is no way that I will see this man and he won't be able to read me like a book. I do have a week until we see each other, so I've got time to work on my poker face.
Wow. Karen, to me, this sounds like an amazing story. To you, it's your life. I understand your predicament. Sounds like your relationship with Jared was based on friendship. Having coffee together after so long might be an opportunity to rekindle that friendship. We are so thrilled for you, whatever happens. Thank you so much for sharing such a beautiful and vulnerable part of your life with us.
Thank you for letting me tell it. It actually feels good to say it all out loud. Right now, Jared and I have taken what we've said to each other at face value. I'm a hopeless romantic and would want us to blend our families and sail off into the sunset. I just need to know the true status of his marriage.
I'm sure the Almost Lovers Club, after hearing your story, will want to follow you, or at least know what happened after you and Jared met.
Well, I don't use social media much and only have Facebook that I use to keep in touch with family and friends. You know what, though? If you'll have me back on the show, I can always come back and share. I'm anxious to know myself at this point, so I totally understand if others would like to find out.
Once more, thank you for calling in to share your story.
Thank you for having me.
Lori's story is such a powerful reminder that life is long and paths can cross again when you least expect it. It's not about going back to the past, but about seeing if the people you've become over the years can reconnect or even be friends. We wish you all the best, Lori. And for all our listeners out there, hold on to your stories. You never know when the next chapter might begin. Join us on the next video for another episode of the Almost Lovers Club.